تو اگلا ہمارا جو آج کا نیکسٹ لیکچر ہوگا دیٹ از اباؤٹ دا اوور ویو آف پاکستان نیشنل پاورٹی گریجویشن پروگرام اینڈ وی ہیو مسٹر محمد فضل, ہی از پروگرام ڈائریکٹر, پروگرام مینجمنٹ یونٹ, NPGP. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and over to you.
سوشل سیفٹی میں حکومت پاکستان کا اس وقت پاورٹی گریجویشن پہ یہ سب سے لارجسٹ پروگرام ہے اور میں اس کا پروگرام ڈائریکٹر ہوں. میں اپنی پریزنٹیشن میں جانے سے پہلے اگر آپ سے پوچھوں کہ کتنے جو پارٹیسپینٹس ہیں وہ پاورٹی گریجویشن کے کانسیپٹ سے واقف ہیں یا آگاہ ہیں. پاورٹی ایلیویشن, پاورٹی ریڈکشن, یہ تو ہم 30-40 سال سے مختلف RSPs کے ساتھ اور مختلف اداروں کے ساتھ سنتے آ رہے ہیں. یہ پاورٹی گریجویشن may be something new, something different, or something may be confusing. There may be question کہ جی پہلے پاورٹی ایلیویشن تھا, پھر ریڈکشن ہو گیا, پھر ایریڈیکیشن ہو گیا, پاورٹی ایریڈیکیشن بھی ہے, تو یہ پاورٹی گریجویشن کہاں سے آیا, اس کی کیا ضرورت ہے. So there are answers there, but I just wanted to know, اگر ہم سب کو پتہ ہے کہ پاورٹی گریجویشن ہے کیا, تو پھر شاید مجھے وہ سلائڈز میں اسکپ کر دوں ٹو ویلیو یور ٹائم, آپ کے قیمتی وقت کو ملحوظ خاطر رکھتے ہوئے پھر میں ان سلائڈس کو اسکپ کر دوں گا, ڈائریکٹ میں چلا جاؤں گا کہ پاورٹی گریجویشن میں NPGP کیا کر رہا ہے. بٹ اف دیر از نیڈ ٹو ٹاک آن دس کانسیپٹ آف پاورٹی گریجویشن, یس دین آئی ول ڈیلیبریٹ آن دیٹ. کوئی اگر دوست جن کو پاورٹی گریجویشن کا پتہ ہے ذرا مجھے. جی میڈم.
Sir, poverty graduation is to pull out the beneficiaries from the vicious cycle of poverty اور پھر اس کو sustainable بنانا کہ وہ دوبارہ سے fell down نہ ہو جائیں اس جو ایک ہماری threshold ہے یا وہ جو poverty کی line ہے, اور ان کو اتنا independent بنا دینا کہ وہ اپنی livelihood کو without any assistance اور جو transfers ہیں social protection کے اس کو جاری رکھ سکیں. Next.
تو یہ تو پھر پاورٹی ایلیویشن اور پاورٹی گریجویشن میں فرق کیا ہے؟
سر وہ پہلے وہ ایلیویشن اس کہ اس کو منیمائز کیا نا, ہم نے ختم کیا, اس کے بعد اس کو گریجویٹ اس سائیکل سے نکال دیا, پھر اس کو سسٹینیبل بھی بنانا کہ وہ سسٹین کر سکے
اوکے
اس لیول کے اوپر.
کوئی اور اس میں ایڈ کرنا چاہیے, موڈیفائی کرنا چاہے, ڈس ایگری کرنا چاہے اور کوئی؟ جی سر.
پروسیس ہے جبکہ گریجویشن آؤٹ کم ہے.
اوکے, آئی تھنک لیٹ می ایکسپلین. جی میں سلائڈ ٹرن کروں گا یا کیسے کریں گے؟ اوکے گڈ. اوکے, سب سے پہلے میں تھوڑا سا ہائی لائٹ کروں گا, اگرچہ کہ although you are already aware of these statistics or the context of Pakistan in terms of poverty, but I'll just highlight the key statistics or the figures that reinforce the need for poverty graduation in Pakistan. The global hunger index, the Pakistan is ranked 99th out of 121, which means just in the bottom. And even if you look at the global gender gap index, again Pakistan is at the bottom. After Afghanistan, we are just there. And situation is again worst in human development index as well. So any of the global indices, be it global gender gap index, hunger index, or the human development index, Pakistan is somewhere lying among the bottom countries, despite being the having agriculture, livestock rich, and having lots of natural resources and the huge youth bulge. We are just lagging and lying down there. 55% of the rural population of Pakistan is multidimensionally poor, as per the UNDP's report. And as per Ministry of Planning and Development's recent multidimensional poverty index ranking, Pakistan, I think around 38% of the total population of Pakistan is multidimensionally poor. So I think you already know what the difference between the different parameters of poverty. The multidimensional poverty, that's the one parameter of measuring the poverty. The other one is the poverty scorecard. The third one is cost of basic need uh, parameter. So based on the MPI, Pakistan, we have around 38% population, multidimensionally poor. But among these, mostly they are rural poor. Also, I think this is also an important point to highlight. Sorry, highlight. Currently, we have 9 million families registered with BISP for unconditional cash transfer, who are receiving unconditional cash transfer, as well as Wasila Taaleem and Nashr Numa and other conditional cash transfer program, but 9 million unconditional cash transfer. And this amounts to 469 billion rupees per year. So 469 billion rupees per year is going to these 9 million families who are extremely poor, as per the poverty score card analysis of the National Socioeconomic Registry. So this also reinforces the need that we need to graduate these 9 million households out of this perpetual unconditional cash transfer to the sustainable poverty graduation, so that they are economically self-reliant. So the need is enormous for the poverty graduation. Okay, I think this slide, I'll try to explain that what is the difference between poverty graduation or poverty elevation, and why poverty graduation. If we look at the community-driven development history in Pakistan, it's almost 4 decades or more than that. If we take into account the Dr. Akhtar Meet Khan's I think Komila, yes, Komila project, that was in Bangladesh. So that was in 60s. So since then, Pakistan is to this community-driven development or participatory development, and the poverty elevation or poverty eradication has been in the core, one of the core goals of this community-driven development. And we have seen that number of infrastructure-related or participatory development initiatives have been undertaken. During the last 2 decades, Pakistan Poverty Alleviation Fund, they also started microfinance. Pakistan Poverty Alleviation Fund is the pioneer in initiating microfinance in Pakistan, and they are primarily the sector developer. So they developed a number of microfinance institutions in Pakistan. So based on the experience of Bangladesh and India and other countries in the region, it was considered that perhaps microfinance is the only solution that can uplift the rural poor out of poverty. However, after first phase of the World Bank PPF1 project, it was learned that microfinance alone cannot altogether move families out of poverty. We need to have social mobilization as well. We need to develop ecosystem at the village, community, and district level. Thank you. And then the community also needs public infrastructure, water supply schemes, sanitation facilities, farm to market access roads, irrigation channels, etc., etc. So community physical infrastructure component was also added into the program. Eventually, then the renewable energy, other components were also embedded. So during next 5 years, from 2005 to 2012, 2005 to 2012, this multi-sectoral approach at the community driven development that has been undertaken. However, later on, it was learned and realized that despite the fact that in the villages, some communities have rural infrastructure, they have now primary schools, they have irrigation channels, but there are still some households extremely vulnerable, ethnically marginalized, who cannot benefit from these communal poverty alleviation or poverty eradication initiatives. They do not own land, so that they can benefit from the irrigation channels developed under these programs. They do not have sufficient income, rather, that limits them to send their children to school even. So these extremely vulnerable and marginalized households, they need targeted support instead of this community support. So this reinforces the need, and I think BRAC was the pioneer to introduce this targeting ultra poor program. You can Google it. So BRAC in Bangladesh, they started this targeting ultra poor. So it was a targeted approach. It's not a community driven approach that you do the community public physical infrastructure, you do education or health, etc., but you identify the extremely vulnerable, marginalized families within the community and develop a customized livelihood and poverty graduation program for that particular family and take them on the path of poverty graduation. So just to highlight that this is the difference between the poverty elevation. Poverty elevation is more community oriented, it's holistic, whereas the poverty graduation is targeted to the to uplift the extremely vulnerable, marginalized households. So that's the difference. If any question on this, I hope that now it's clear. So based on this, BRAC's experience in Pakistan also, IFAD, World Bank, and PPF, they experimented in the coastal area with some few thousands of families, and that experience was quite successful. The results were quite successful, and based on that, IFAD and government of Pakistan, they came up with a full-scale program on poverty graduation. Okay. I'm coming on that. So, and then this question is very pertinent and intelligent as well. All questions are always intelligent, but this is more relevant to my presentation. So I will just briefly highlight what is poverty graduation. So primarily poverty graduation is not only targeting the extremely vulnerable marginalized households, but also linking the poverty graduation initiative with the existing social protection initiatives. So in this case, for instance, in Pakistan, we, as I mentioned, we have 9 million households or families who are receiving unconditional cash transfer. So this is our target group. So this group is systematically already identified through National Socioeconomic Registry. Under National Socioeconomic Registry, poverty scorecard survey was done across Pakistan. And as per BIS data, around 85% of the total population of Pakistan, 85% of the total population of Pakistan, that has been covered. And out of that 85% of the total population, 9 million were identified as extremely poor, eligible for unconditional cash transfer by government of Pakistan as consumption smoothing allowance. So our goal or the target is that this and this, okay, the earlier the threshold was 0 to 16.17. This is the poverty scorecard. Now they have changed because they have added some variables. So now it is 0 to 32. So our target, as per the latest NACR data, is those families who are in poverty score card range of 0 to 32 or PMT, proxy mean test, 0 to 32, and who are receiving unconditional cash transfer, they will be targeted for the poverty graduation so that they can be economically self-reliant, they can be sustainably graduated out of this unconditional cash transfer. At one hand, it will economically empower these families. On the other hand, it will also reduce the expense of government of Pakistan on giving this unconditional cash transfer to a large number of families perpetually. So, so up to 0 to 32, what we do in the poverty band, for different band in the poverty graduation, it's a systematic progression of families from unconditional cash transfer to asset creation development of enterprises and then SMEs. So this is the path of poverty graduation. So in first place, what we do, that those who do, families who are eligible for unconditional cash transfer, they are provided with the livelihood assets. Livelihood assets can be include livestock, chingchi rickshaw, or anything to help them set up their own enterprises. Also, they are provided with the livelihood training, such as enterprise development trainings, financial literacy trainings, functional literacy. Also, technical and vocational training is also part of this. And then the next poverty score band is 0 to 40. Now it's 0 to 44. So they also receive interest-free loan as a working capital to further enhance, diversify, or strengthen their enterprises. So, and these are the households who are not bankable, who do not have capacity to access the microfinance, which is why, in first place, they are provided with the assets and training so that they build some capacity and resources to further strengthen and diversify their enterprises to get, then they can be eligible for the microfinance, because now they have, once they will have this bankable, they are bankable and they have the repayment capacity, they can access microfinance to further diversify or expand or strengthen their enterprise. So in the next band, they are linked with the micro. Once they establish their enterprise sufficiently after 2-3 years, and they have the capacity, they generate sufficient income to not only to meet their own household needs, but also to have capacity to repay microfinance to the bank. So they are linked to the microfinance institutions, and eventually they are linked with the SME banks, and they can, so that they can access more than 500,000 or 1 million rupees loan from the SME banks or Khushali Bank or whatever. So this is the whole path of poverty graduation for the target households. So the journey just does not ends on the asset transfer or the training. Rather, it's linking them with the market. It's also linking with the microfinance institutions. It's also developing the entire ecosystem. That I will explain in the subsequent slide. So now, as I mentioned, that the National Poverty Graduation Program is the first program of its kind that has been initiated by International Fund for Agricultural Development and Government of Pakistan. And it's being implemented in 23 districts across Pakistan, all the 4 provinces. And the program goal is to systematically and sustainably graduate the extremely and vulnerable poor households, primarily those who are receiving or who are eligible for unconditional cash transfer from BASE. The total budget for this program is $132 million, out of which $82.6 million is financed by IFAD, and $50 million is financed by Government of Pakistan as for the interest-free loan component, because interest-free loan component was already initiated by Government of Pakistan through PPF back in 2015. So this working capital was already available in the field. So this program was further built on the existing working capital and this is kind of contribution or co-financing by the Government of Pakistan. The program started in November 2017, and the completion date is December 2023. But now this program is going to be extended for another 18 months by IFAD. And Government of Pakistan has also initiated the process of its institutionalization, but because the government realizes that this is a very important program to be linked with the BISP, to help the BISP beneficiaries to be graduated out of this perpetual unconditional cash transfer support. So the families need to be economically self-reliant. So the government is already pursuing that. There are some other development partners who are also who have also expressed their commitment and support for the expansion and continuity of this poverty graduation program in Pakistan. So yes, this program is going to be extended for many years to come. The total, with the available financing, the total target families are 320,000 households. So currently in Sindh, we are present in Kashmir and Shikarpur, in Upper Sindh, Lower Sindh, Badin, Thatta, Sajawal, Tharparkar and Umarkot. These are our partner organizations. And in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we are present in North, Upper Kustan, Lower Kustan, Palas Kolai, Batagram, Torgar, Shangla. And then in question, sir? Ji. आ रहा हूँ जी. हाँ जी. अच्छा, जो मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स वाला है उसका जवाब मैं दे देता हूँ. अगली स्लाइड एक आ रही है. मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स का जब ये हमने डिस्ट्रिक्ट की सिलेक्शन की थी ना, तो मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स की रैंकिंग पे की थी. ठीक है. और उस वक्त जब प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट हो रहा था, डिजाइन हो रहा था 2017 में, तो मिनिस्ट्री प्लानिंग ने यूएनडीपी के साथ मिलकर मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स की एक रिपोर्ट पब्लिश की थी, विच इज अवेलेबल ऑन गूगल. यू कैन एक्सेस दैट इन 2015. तो उसमें डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स की रैंकिंग हुई थी. अनफॉर्चुनेट, और ये जो मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स की रैंकिंग है, दैट वाज डन बेस्ड ऑन दी HIES, और जो स्टैटिस्टिक डिवीजन का जो सेकेंडरी डाटा है उसकी बेसिस पे थे. अनफॉर्चुनेटली फॉर द मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स द डेटा वाज नॉट, for some of the merged districts the data was not available, but North Waziristan and South Waziristan, they were prioritized. Initially North Waziristan and South Waziristan were prioritized. We kept them for 2 years. We couldn't implement, or 3 years rather, we couldn't implement program because of the NOC issues, because the partner organization Sabaun, they were not allowed to work in North Waziristan South. That was the reason. So North Waziristan and South Waziristan were there in the initial design, but because of the security and NOC issue, program couldn't take start. And I think I have also answered that it's based on the district ki ranking hui hai, based on the multi-dimensional poverty index. It's very objective, systematic, which is why we have not experienced any political pressure yet, despite working closely with the government. Because every new minister, in the first place, they asked that how did you select the district? So we show them the criteria and the ranking of all the districts, and then explain them this is how. And we continue to follow this. Even in the new program, there is another program. Ministry of Human Rights is also going to fund us around 4 billion rupees for women empowerment, and the approach will be the same, the poverty graduation approach. And even that was the PC1 that included the same criteria, that the district selection will be based on the criteria. It will not be based on convenience, that okay, I like this district or that district. नहीं सर. अच्छा, उसकी वजह ये है, एक तो ये है कि अभी NACR ने अपनी रजिस्ट्री को डायनेमिक कर दिया है. ठीक है. चूंकि डायनेमिक कर दिया है, तो हमारी प्रेजेंस आप देख रहे हैं इन सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में है. हमारी कम्युनिटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस भी हैं, हमारे कम्युनिटी रिसोर्स पर्सन्स भी हैं. सो जब ये कंप्लेन आती है जी कि फलां फैमिली का नाम NACR इसमें नहीं है, इन 9 मिलियन में नहीं है, तो वी रिक्वेस्ट देम टू गो टू दैट रेलेवेंट डेस्क वहाँ पे जो तालुका के अंदर है, और जाके अपनी असेसमेंट करवाएं एंड देन गेट इट एनरोल्ड. अब ये एक, चूंकि NACR एक सिस्टमैटिक तरीका है, ऑब्जेक्टिव है, इसमें पर्सनल बाइसेस वो नहीं है. जैसे मसलन गांव में हम जाते हैं ना, तो हम अक्सर सवाल होता है, अच्छा जी गरीब कौन है, तो हम सारे गरीब हैं. तो मतलब है हम एज ए नेशन जो है ना, वो हमारे गुर्बत जो है वो शायद हमारे ख्यालों में है, हमारे नजरियात में है. आई एम सॉरी टू बी पॉलिटिकल बिट, बट ये है. जब आप किसी भी गांव में जाएं, मतलब मैं एबटाबाद से, आई बिलोंग टू एबटाबाद, बट व्हेन आई गो टू माय विलेज एवरीबॉडी सेज वी आर पुअर. देखिए, NACR पाकिस्तान में जो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक का जो सेंसस का है ना डाटा, दिस इज द लार्जेस्ट इन पाकिस्तान. इससे बड़ा सेंसस आपके पास कोई भी नहीं है जो आपको सोशियो इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस बताए फैमिलीज का. ठीक. तो No, I fully agree. अभी जो हमने, अच्छा जी,
सर मेरा इसमें ये तो क्वेश्चन था कि एजेके और जीबी से कोई नहीं क्वालिफाई कर सका डिस्ट्रिक्ट पॉवर्टी ग्रेजुएशन के लिए, या वो आपने कंसीडर ही नहीं किया जब आप ये इसकी टारगेटिंग कर रहे थे?
अच्छा, मैं वो फाटा वाला पहले रिस्पॉन्ड कर लूँ. In the new proposals, we are including Khyber and other merged districts because now the data is available with the Ministry of Planning. We are including already. ये जो कोहिस्तान था, it was initially one district included. Administratively, it was just one unit. ये पिछले साल नहीं, ये 2020 में इसका नोटिफिकेशन हुआ है 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स का, है 2020. तो इस प्रोग्राम की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, एक्चुअल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जनवरी 2020 में शुरू हुई है. अप्रूव तो 2017 में हुआ, बट जो हमारे पाकिस्तान में एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव इश्यूज हैं, इट कुडंट मूव फॉरवर्ड. तो ये फिर जब 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में स्प्लिट हो गया, जैसे जोब के साथ, जोब था डिस्ट्रिक्ट शिरानी हो गया, सजावल भी इनिशियली, ठट्ठा भी आल्सो वाज वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट, तो स्प्लिट हो गया. तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिवली 2 स्प्लिट होने की वजह से वी जस्ट काउंटेड देम 2. अगर हम कहते ना कोहिस्तान, सिर्फ कोहिस्तान लिख देते, देन देयर विल बी क्वेश्चन, अच्छा जी कोहिस्तान कौन सा वाला, अपर के लोअर, पालसकुलाई. सो जस्ट टू डिस्टिंग्विश दैट वी हैव मेंशन्ड ऑल. अदरवाइज वो पूरा कोहिस्तान वाज पार्ट ऑफ दैट. ठट्ठा वाज एंटायर, ठट्ठा वाज पार्ट ऑफ दैट. अब स्प्लिट हो गए, नाउ वी हैव सजावल एंड ठट्ठा. सो ऑन द गिलगित बल्तिस्तान एंड एजेके, गिलगित बल्तिस्तान, चूंकि इफाद इज सपोर्टिंग और फाइनेंसिंग दिस प्रोग्राम, इनिशियली जीबी वाज इंक्लूडेड. But then IFAD said, we proposed GB and also AJK. I remember Haveli, Forward Kota was included in, yeah, and Niliam and Forward Kota. These were the 2 districts. But then there is a process that IFAD is also involved into that. So IFAD mentioned that they have a big program, ETI GB, in entire Gilgit, covering entire Gilgit with $35 million. And now they are increasing financing. So to avoid any duplication, risk of duplication, they said that you leave this GB for ETI GB, because that is also a IFAD supported project. And for AJK also, they said they are also considering another program. So which is why these 2 regions were not included based on recommendation of IFAD. Yes.
Basically, question regarding the partnership. As the chart shows that जो केपी में पार्टनरशिप है वो एनजीओस के साथ है, जो कि और प्रोविंसेस में जो पार्टनरशिप है दे आर बेसिकली नेशनल रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम, सेंट्रल रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम. तो इज देयर एनी क्राइटेरिया के मतलब वो, बिकॉज वी हैव सरहद रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम, एज जो सिक्योरिटी रीजन की प्रॉब्लम्स है ना एनजीओस,
सरहद रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम,
हाँ हमारे पास एसआरएसपी है ना, ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है. क्योंकि बेसिकली जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी का इशू है ना, ये एनजीओज ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लिए कुछ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में है, लेकिन बेसिकली जो सेमी ऑटोनमस बॉडीज है लाइक सरहद रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम, उनके लिए फिर ये इश्यूज नहीं है. तो इज देयर एनी स्पेसिफिक क्राइटेरिया कि क्यों मतलब केपी में जो है एनजीओस को सेलेक्ट किया गया? सबाउन इज वन ऑफ लोकल एनजीओस, लसुना इज वन ऑफ लोकल एनजीओस वर्किंग विद इन ओनली इन स्वात डिस्ट्रिक्ट. सो इज देयर, क्योंकि मतलब वो बेसिकली गवर्नमेंट की मॉनिटरिंग अकाउंटेबिलिटी का वो जो है ना, गवर्नमेंट के काउंटर पार्ट पर आई थिंक ज्यादा होता है, एनजीओस पर इतना ज्यादा नहीं होता. क्योंकि तो आई थिंक देयर इज सम क्राइटेरिया व्हाई बेसिकली द एनजीओस आर सेलेक्टेड फॉर केपी.
आप एसआरएसपी में क्या करते हैं सर? आपकी क्या जिम्मेदारी है एसआरएसपी में?
आई एम नॉट वर्किंग विद एसआरएसपी.
You are working with the,
I am working with the child protection in the social welfare department. But I have just a question, because the chart shows that दूसरे सूबों में जो है ऑलरेडी रूरल सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम जो कि लीगल एंटिटी है उनको दिया है, और मतलब उसमें ऑलरेडी आपने रिमार्क्स में दिए भी कि मतलब एनएमडीज में जो है वो ऑलरेडी सबाउन को एनओसी नहीं मिली, जो कि आजकल एक रूटीन वो है, प्रॉब्लम्स है एनजीओस को. तो आई थिंक जो गवर्नमेंट के एंटिटीज होते हैं, अब एसआरएसपी इज बेसिकली एसोसिएटेड विद द एसडीयू and PND department, so they don't have the issue of NOC and accessibility का problem नहीं. So just for clarity,
I think there was a published criteria. There was a national competitive bidding process undertaken for selection of partners, and it did not specify whether RSPs or non-RSPs, anyone. And the criteria was quite clear, that the organization who have experience in poverty alleviation or poverty graduation, who has current presence in these districts and currently functional in these districts, also the financial capacity and institutional capacity, because the funding under NPGP is huge. All these, and even National Rural Support Program does not have a single contract earlier in its history. What we have, NPGP has signed with them, and any of those. So the amount of contract is also huge. So the financial capacity, institutional capacity, geographical presence, sectoral expertise, these are the criteria. Those were published publicly. But due to some issue, and that was the time when this procurement was undertaken there in PPF. But due to some issues, that process, the procurement process didn't lead to any conclusive. So what happened that with the consultation with the IFAD, then there were 44 partner organizations of PPF back in 2018. Another round, a third round of partner selection was undertaken. And I'm expressing this that because working with those who work with NGOs, they already know this entire process, because lots of NGOs, more than 100 NGOs applied in the first place, and then there were around 70, 80 who applied in. But those two phases couldn't, what should I say? They were not conclusive. They did not lead to any result meeting to the requirement of the donor of the program. So in the third phase, because IFAD, there is a condition in IFAD financing that if in the first 18 months, and we need to know, because tomorrow any of you may be managing any IFAD funded project or working with IFAD funded project. So and for IFAD funded projects, we have to be efficient. With the government or other donors, sometimes you may take 2 years not to start or not to initiate project. But in the financing agreement of IFAD, if in the first 18 months you do not get any disbursement from IFAD, the project stands closed. So the funding goes back. So I think we lost almost 15 months. Then IFAD allowed us that you select from the existing 44 partners. So there was again criteria that was approved by IFAD, and and these 44 are not RSPs. They were from Punjab and Balochistan. They were other NGOs as well. With SRSP also, it was also Lasuna and SRSP in the north. They were kind of equal competitor. Because both were present in Kohistan, both were working in livelihood, etc., etc. But there were some administrative unsettled issues of SRSP with PPF, because of which I think there was some financial dispute between both organizations because of another program, which is why because of that risk thing, SRSP, Lasuna got more score as compared to SRSP. So this entire partner organization procurement process was quite transparent, sent to the donor, approved by the donor, why this PO has been selected and why this has not been selected. So which is why. जी 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 अच्छा and in NPGP we have these 6 components. The first one is the provision of productive assets. I'll give the details later. The tangible and intangible. Intangible means technical and vocational trainings, including digital skills and e-commerce, livelihood and vocational skills training, interest-free loan as a working capital, also joint businesses, village social enterprises. Besides having these individual assets, now we are also venturing to have a collective business or business cooperatives of 150 to 300 households on different horticulture, agriculture, and around livestock value chains. Also, we have social mobilization component. It's not just transferring the assets and letting people go. We also working on developing the ecosystem, also the behavioral change communication, because even though we do not have resources to address the multidimensional poverty issues such as education or health or water and sanitation, but we still invest some resources to address the preventive measures related to health and nutrition, related to climate change adaptation, related to promoting girls' education, etc. So such social mobilization component primarily addresses those cross-cutting themes and the behavioral change issues. Okay, I'll just highlight. It's, as I mentioned, it's the largest poverty graduation initiative in the country. I think there are a number of organizations that claim that we are also doing poverty graduation because, but I will just highlight how it is different from others. Even there are some elements even BRAC is not undertaking. So recently, I will just mention, because these two slides were prepared, there was a senior delegation from FAO headquarters. They came to Pakistan, to Ministry of PAS, to review poverty graduation for future partnerships. So when we presented this, and they said that FAO is working more than 100 countries. And although we just started poverty graduation in Pakistan as compared to Brazil, Mexico, Latin America, and in South Asia or Southeast Asia, but in terms of approach or in terms of interventions and the combination of package, you are quite ahead of many other countries. So which is why I thought that I need to share this with you. So our approach is well-crafted sequential approach. As I explained you earlier, it's based on the social safety net, then asset transfer, then micro interest-free loan, then microfinance, and then SME. So this is the sequential approach that has been adopted. Also, the targeting of districts and the families is also systematic, objective. Districts are selected based on the multidimensional poverty index, whereas the families are selected based on the poverty using poverty scorecard or PMT. So I think the beauty of this program is that there is no personal discretion or no convenience involved. If I like Abbottabad, okay, sir, come Abbottabad. If I am a minister from Dadu, so let's include Dadu. No. So there is a multidimensional poverty index ranking, not done by me, not done by IFAD, but Ministry of Planning, which is again another third party or independent institution, not under Ministry of Poverty Elevation. So we use that. And again, poverty scorecard survey, this PMT, that is also not done by NPGP or IFAD. It's another national socio-economic registry, which is very well known and acknowledged by international financial institutions like World Bank and ADB. So there is a huge acknowledgement. So we use this. So this I think saves us lots of unwanted grievances, complaints, that why not my district has been included, why not this family has been, because there is a systematic targeting and selection criteria adopted. Recently, two international NGOs, they also visited us, and they said, so I will not mention the name, but one of the INGO, they said that they are going to start poverty graduation in the rural areas of Islamabad. And another one said they are going to work in Chakwal. So I said, sir, how you have selected these districts, Chakwal and Islamabad? What is the basis of selection? So it was just convenience, because it's just nearby to their headquarters. So I explained them that the poverty graduation is not just transferring the assets or trainings, but it's an entire approach involving starting from the selection of districts, selection of union councils, selection of target families, objectively, systematically, without any bias and without any prejudice. So it's not, then it will not only lead to the graduation of the families, but also graduation of the districts. There are lagging districts like Koistan, Soap, Tharparkar. Economically and socially, they are marginalized and lagging. So if we'll target them, I think, and if we'll target around 10,000 families there, it will, okay, done, good. It will eventually not only impact the families, but also impact the overall poverty and socioeconomic status of those lagging regions. So on the beneficiary selection, we are not only using the poverty score, but we use a triangulation approach. So what we mean by triangulation approach is that we take NSER data, but then we go to the village. We have community level meeting, large mass meeting, what we call it. And there we do the participatory wealth ranking. We do not at the very outset share the data or the list, because then people will start complaining, my name is not there, his name is wrong, etc. We first ask them that you enlist the households in your entire village. You do the social mapping using the PRA tools. Most of you are maybe familiar. And then we do the participatory wealth ranking. Then once the community identifies that these are the households, the poorest, ultra poor, and middle income and well off. So then we correlate those households with the best NSER data. And this participatory wealth ranking actually helps us to have buy-in on ownership of the target communities in first place. Also, sometimes we have families in the NSER listed in those union councils, but they have migrated. By the time we go, they have migrated. So the communities are the best knowledge resource for us to inform us that these families are no longer living there. And this poverty scorecard is also based on the asset basis. But there are some, for instance, foreign remittances. Sometimes a family's one family member has just gone to Dubai and started sending foreign remittances to family. So this somehow was not recorded in the poverty scorecard survey. So the family, again, the community also informs us that this household may not be eligible. So this kind of correlation, triangulation helps us to reach to the most marginalized, most deserving, and most needy. And then we again, sir.
आपने बात की, बड़ा अच्छा एक PRA टूल होता है जो हम कम्युनिटी पे इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, और वो जो एक्स्ट्रा पुअर जो होते हैं या उनको हम जो सेलेक्ट करते हैं. लेकिन अगर कम्युनिटी किसी हाउस होल्ड को जो सेलेक्ट कर रही है कि अल्ट्रा पुअर है, लेकिन NSER में वो पुअर नहीं है, इन दैट केस क्या करें?
That we inform to the community that जो दोनों पैरामीटर्स के साथ होगा ना ट्रायंगुलेशन. तीसरा फिर हम ये करते हैं कि फ्रेश बेसलाइन हमने जो अभी तक करते रहे, दोबारा बेसलाइन पॉवर्टी स्कोर कार्ड सर्वे कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, अगर बिस्प का डेटा भी कह रहा है, लेट्स सपोज बिस्प का डाटा कह रहा है कि ये पुअर है, कम्युनिटी कहती है नहीं है.
ये बहुत ज्यादा चैलेंजेस होते हैं.
अच्छा, ये कम्युनिटी कहती है नहीं, फिर हम दोबारा एक फ्रेश बेसलाइन पॉवर्टी स्कोर वही टूल यूज करते हैं, वो बेसलाइन पॉवर्टी स्कोर कार्ड सर्वे करते हैं यूजिंग द टैब. वो रिजल्ट्स जो हमारा बेसलाइन पॉवर्टी स्कोर कार्ड सर्वे और NSER का वो और जो कम्युनिटी की से है, इट्स ट्रायंगुलेटेड. जब तीनों के आपस में मैच होगा, देन वी सिलेक्ट द फैमिलीज. सो इट्स नॉट ओनली, वी डू नॉट ओनली एक्सक्लूसिवली रिलाई ऑन वन डेटा सोर्स. इट्स अ ट्रायंगुलेशन अप्रोच. दैट्स वो हमें फिल्टर करने में, हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज कम है, नीड बहुत ज्यादा है. वन थिंग. सेकंड, इसमें कंप्लेंट्स, ग्रीवेंसेस, पर्सनल बाइसेस बहुत आ सकते हैं. सो ये जो ट्रायंगुलेशन है ना, ये फिर जो ह्यूमन उसमें इम्प्लीकेशंस है वो उसको मिनिमाइज कर देता है इसको. अच्छा, अच्छा, अब जो एसेट्स है ट्रेनिंग सिलेक्शन के लिए वी अंडरटेक रिगरस लाइवलीहुड इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लानिंग एक्सरसाइज विद टारगेट हाउसहोल्ड. सो एक और ब्यूटी इसकी ये है कि इट्स नॉट प्रेस्क्रिप्टिव. ये यहाँ बैठ के मिनिस्ट्री में हम नहीं तय करते कि जी कोस्तान में हम सबको बकरियां देंगे, थरपारकर में हम सबको ऊंट देंगे. नो, it's not prescriptive. We don't determine that in this district for these families will give this. It's the family primarily who chooses what suits best to their socio-economic conditions, their capacities, their resources, and the livelihood needs. So your livelihood investment plan gives right of choice to the target family to select the best possible livelihood asset or training they need. It's a demand driven. Business cooperatives, another element that most of the poverty graduation programs do not have. Also, the beauty is that it's augmented with the capacity building sessions on health and nutrition, disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and other thematic areas. So it's not just asset transfer trainings and interest-free loan. There is, in every union council, we have 10 community resource persons available who are cascading capacity building sessions on different thematic areas. We have multi-tier monitoring, evaluation, and knowledge management. For instance, we do outcome survey through third party. We do First. Second, we do annual poverty scorecard survey. We track annually every household using the poverty scorecard survey through the partner organizations. Then we have our own monitoring system. Then IFAD mission, every 6 months they come for. The fifth one, we also engage the academia or research. Recently we engage PIDE, Pakistan Institute of Development Economics. So we did not fund them. So it's a kind of independent. They independently did the impact assessment of our interventions, because it has been 4 years we have been working with the families. So this is multi-tier monitoring evaluation, different data sources that validates the outcomes or the impact of our poverty graduation program. So I'll not go into this detail. इसकी वजह से ये सारा मैं verbally I have already explained you how we go. इवन ग्रीवेंस रिडक्शन मैकेनिज्म है ना, हाउस होल्ड लेवल पे जो प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, इवन कम्युनिटी, हमारे यहाँ पाकिस्तान में शिकायत करने का कल्चर बड़ा माशाल्लाह एक्टिव वाइब्रेंट है. बट वी डू इनकरेज, ओके, इफ यू हैव कंप्लेंट डू रजिस्टर. सो डिफरेंट प्राइम मिनिस्टर सिटीजन पोर्टल पे भी कंप्लेंट्स आती हैं, एनपीजीपी की अपनी वेबसाइट पे, फेसबुक पे, ट्विटर पे, पीओस के अपने कंप्लेंट बॉक्स भी रखा होता है कि आए जी शिकायत करें. और then we have a process of redressing and we maintain the log sheet, etc., etc. Just ensure that we are accountable to the right holders. It's their right. Whatever we are serving, we are not just giving, it's their right. So they have the right to complain about our code of conduct, about our conduct, the quality of the package, or the quantity of package, or the relevance or effectiveness. They can complain. We need to address that. So I'll just mention the outputs and outcomes, because I have already explained the approach. So far 127,917 households have received tangible and intangible assets across Pakistan. The target was 156,000 households, and we have still time to implement achieve the remaining targets. And 146,000 families have received interest-free loans, and we have 148,000 households received livelihood training such as financial literacy, functional literacy, enterprise development. These are the families who receive assets or interest-free loan. They are also provided with the functional literacy, financial literacy, asset management, or enterprise development trainings. Also, we have more than 3,000 community resource persons trained as master trainers on the ground to provide these trainings continuously to the target households on different thematic areas. And we have undertaken capacity building sessions with more than 380,000 community members across 3,000 union councils. So the outcomes, because we often report the outputs that we have delivered this much amount, we have delivered assets to, but in NPGP, we are very much focused on the outcomes and impact, because that shows the need and relevance of this program, whether the government need to adopt it, institutionalize it, or if it is not working, then maybe some other alternate approach for graduating the households out of poverty. So we did 2 assessments. One is the PIDE, as I mentioned, we recently received that report, and PIDE involved a randomized controlled trial approach. Those who know the research methodology. So they adopted this control group and treatment group. They did this research methodology. Whereas we also hired a third party, Ipsos and Grant Thornton's International Consulting Associates. They were hired through a competitive process with the approval of IFAD, certainly. So they also did sample survey across all 23 districts. So these 2 reports validated the outcomes of our interventions during the last 4 years. So in first place, both the reports informed that 80% of the target women, they report increased role in household decision making. Although it has not altogether changed the social fabric of the communities, in some districts, the progress was very well. In some districts like Kohistan, there was no remarkable progress, but there was the wind of change was there, reported there. More importantly, 77.4% households reported 30% increase in income against the baseline income. So the baseline income was reported in the livelihood investment plan. When we do the livelihood investment plan, beside asking about the existing resources and capacities and the type, we also ask about what is your current income, what are your expenditures, etc., etc. So that income mentioned in the livelihood investment plan before asset transfer is considered as the baseline income. So 77.4% who received assets and interest-free loan reported more than 30% increase in income. There were families who reported even 60%, but cumulatively 77. And that our target in the log frame, project result framework, was 60%. So we are quite high on this side. And another important point is because the selection of families is based on the poverty scorecard tool using the NSCR. So 74 point, and our aim is to graduate them from this poverty band from 0 to 32 or 0 to 16.17. So 74.4% households were reported to be graduated out of that category, which means they are no more in a way eligible for the unconditional cash transfer. We have developed, now the question is that what is the way forward for graduating from the NSCR? We have developed, NPGP has its own MIS. We have recently developed API to have a data interface, data exchange with NSCR. And we are sharing data with them, and we are going to have because both this program and the BESP is under ministry, and ministry is working on this policy and data integration and graduation. So I think this is all for now. Your questions and comments will be welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is very useful और हमारे लिए, मेरे लिए personally बहुत learning है. मैं सिर्फ एक आपने कहा कि इसकी approach prescriptive है, तो जब आप इसको design कर रहे होते हैं तो
it's not prescriptive. Sorry, I said it's not prescriptive. We do not prescribe.
No, the kind of assistance that you extend to the communities, वो decide करते हैं कि क्या किस तरह से उनको, ठीक है? तो उसमें आप किस तरह से target फिर assess करते हैं कि कितने लोगों को target करना है? I'm just trying to understand, क्योंकि इसमें politically जो हमारे experience रहा है कि politically interference और interest होता है कि फलां जगह चिंची देनी है या फलां जगह पे मतलब livestock यानी specify कर दिया जाता है. तो इस तरह की कोई आपको पॉलिटिकली मतलब कहने का मतलब ही किस तरह नेविगेट करते हैं इस तरह के चैलेंजेस को जब आप कम्युनिटी पे छोड़ देते हैं कि उन्होंने डिसाइड करना है कि क्या लिखे देना है उनको?
I think it's all about the communication. I have opportunity to work with the ministers of both the government, the last one and PTI government. When we tell them this criteria and the approach and the rationale that if the household will choose the type of assets they will own, they will utilize it better and they will feel more empowered. उसकी assurance हम मतलब प्रोग्राम दे सकता है कि यार अगर उसने गाय, वो हाउसहोल्ड कहता है मुझे गाय दो, उसको अगर आप गाय की बजाय बकरियां देंगे, then we are not sure वो अभी ले लेगा कल बेच देगा. ठीक? So we honestly, let me tell you, I worked with Dr. Sania Nishtar Sahaba. I worked with Shazia Mari. You know, she was the minister. Faisal Karim Kundi Sahab. नहीं, मैं उधर ही आ रहा हूँ, उधर ही. Yes, because let me tell, house ये जो है ना, politicians के ये मसले नहीं है. मैं sir, if you allow me, जी, पॉलिटिशियन का ये मसला नहीं है कि इधर चिंकी रक्षा दो या गाय दो या बकरी दो, ये मसले नहीं है. पॉलिटिशियन का मसला है. मैं खुद जो है वो 2007 में कभी किसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में इलेक्शन, तो हमारा मसला ये होता है या पॉलिटिशियन का मसला ये होता है कि मेरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट, मेरी यूनियन काउंसिल, ये मसला होता है. मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी शुड बी कवर्ड. ठीक है? ये छोटे पेटी इश्यूज में वो नहीं पड़ते कि यार इधर चिंकी रक्षा दो. हम जब उन्हें कहते हैं कि यार आपके जो अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी के जो वोटर्स हैं वो कहते हैं हमें ये दो, अगर आप कहेंगे नहीं ये दो तो फिर वोटर्स आपसे नाराज होंगे. बट यस, ये होता है कि जी अच्छा ये मेरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट क्यों नहीं है या मेरी यूनियन काउंसिल क्यों नहीं है. देन वी टेल देम दैट दिस इज द क्राइटेरिया एंड दिस क्राइटेरिया इज अप्रूव्ड बाय इफाद. वी डू नॉट हैव ए और प्रोजेक्ट स्टीयरिंग कमेटी इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय EAD फाइनेंस फला. सो कोई भी नया डिस्ट्रिक्ट है پہلے تو اس کو ریشنل بنانا پڑے گا, ٹھیک ہے, اور پھر وہ پروجیکٹ اسٹیئرنگ کمیٹی سے اپروو ہوگا, پھر افاد اس پہ نو آبجیکشن. سو اٹس سچ اے ریگرس تھنگ. جب ہمیں ان کو بتاتے ہیں دین سو فار دے ایگری. جی سر. وہ
میرا جو کویسچن ہے وہ ٹوٹل آبزرویشن بیسڈ ہے سوسائٹی کے اوپر, جو لوگ غربت سے نکلے ہیں اور جو آج تک نہیں نکل سکے. میں نے دیکھا ہے کہ جو لوگ غربت سے نکلے ہیں انہوں نے خود ایفرٹ کی ہے وداؤٹ کسی کے ہیلپ کی. مثلاً جس بندے کو ہم نے زکوٰۃ پہ لگا دی ہے اپنی فیملی میں یا معاشرے میں, وہ نسل در نسل زکوٰۃ پہ ہی لگے ہوں. ہماری اپنی فیملی کے اندر ایک یہ ٹرینڈ ہوتا ہے, تقریباً سب کی فیملی میں ہوگا, کہ جب کوئی فوت ہوتا ہے تو جس کو ہم ختم کے کپڑے دینے شروع کر دیتے ہیں نا, ان کا باپ اس کے آگے اولاد اسی طرح وہ ختم کے کپڑے ہی لے رہے ہیں. کوئی پاورٹی سے نکلا نہیں ہے. ہاں, جس نے خود ایفرٹ کی ہے وہ پڑھا ہے, ان کا ایک بچہ اگر دبئی چلا گیا ہے یا وہاں سے موو کر کے کسی اور شہر میں کام کیا ہے, وہ ود ان 2-3 ایئر کے اندر اندر پاورٹی سے نکل جاتے ہیں. اسی طرح اپنے معاشرے میں اب یہ دیکھا کہ جس کو ہم نے اپنے محلے میں زکوٰۃ دینی شروع کر دی ہے, آج بھی میں اپنے آبائی شہر میں جاتا ہوں جو آج سے 40 سال پہلے زکوٰۃ فیملی لے رہی تھی, آج وہی فیملی زکوٰۃ ہی لے رہی ہے. انہوں نے کوئی اس میں سے غربت سے نہیں نکلا. اس کے برعکس وہ لوگ جن کے بچے پڑھ کے یا کسی طرح ایفرٹ کر کے وہ دبئی چلے گئے ہیں یا باہر چلے گئے ہیں یا انہوں نے کوئی اپنا کاروبار شروع کر دیا ہے, وہ 3-4 سالوں کے اندر اندر غربت سے نکل گئے. تو یہ کوئی کیا ہماری اپروچ جو ہے اس میں کوئی مسئلہ ہے, یا کہ ہم لوگوں کو ویسے ہی جو ہے وہ ہم بنا رہے ہیں کہ لگا دے زکوٰۃ کے اوپر؟
نہیں, ہمارے پہلی بات یہ ہمارے پروگرام میں وہ زکوٰۃ یا وہ ہمارے پروگرام میں یہ کمٹمنٹ نہیں ہے کہ آج آپ کو یہ ایسٹ دے رہے ہیں کل پھر دیں گے, ٹھیک ہے. وی ٹیل دیم دس از ونس ان یور لائف ٹائم اپرچونٹی, ون تھنگ. سیکنڈ یہ ہے کہ اگر سر آپ جو پاورٹی کے جو لینڈسکیپ ہے نا پاکستان کا, وہ بڑا ڈائیورس ہے اینڈ ویری کمپلیکیٹڈ ایز ویل. آپ اگر زوب چلے جائیں, زوب کے ڈائنامکس اور ہیں, کوہستان کے ڈائنامکس اور ہیں, تھر پارکر کے ڈائنامکس اور ہیں, اور ود ان تھر پارکر بھی کولی کمیونٹی کے اپنے ڈائنامکس ہیں, بھیل کمیونٹی کے اپنے ڈائنامکس ہیں. تو ایسی آپ سارے سوال یہ ہے کہ جی ایجوکیشن, اگر سکولز ہی فنکشنل نہیں ہیں, پورے ڈسٹرکٹ میں ایک ہائی اسکول ہے وہ بھی فنکشنل نہیں ہے. آپ کے سندھ میں اور بلوچستان میں ابھی جو 2022 کے فلڈ سے اسکول افیکٹڈ ہوئے, ابھی سارے ریہیبلیٹیٹ نہیں ہوئے. پھر اسکول کی انرولمنٹ کی کیا حالت ہے, وہاں پہ ٹیچرز کا آنا کیا ہے. تو جو ریموٹ ڈسٹرکٹس ہیں نا, وہ سروسز سے بھی ریموٹ ہے وہاں پہ, اور پھر مارکیٹس بھی وہاں پہ فنکشن نہیں ہے, انڈسٹری بھی نہیں ہے. وی آر لیونگ جسٹ نیئر دا سٹی سینٹرز, دا مارکیٹ سینٹرز, فیصل آباد, لاہور, گجرانوالا, پشاور, مردان, چرسدہ, یہ سارے, یہ اور دنیا ہے. اور تھر پارکر کی اور زوب کی جو لوگ ادھر گئے ہیں انہوں نے دیکھا وہ اور دنیا. وہاں پہ ہاؤس ہولڈس کو, ہمیں ایک بندہ کنویں میں گرا ہوا ہے, ٹھیک ہے, ہمیں اس اپنی مدد پہ نہیں چھوڑنا. وی ہیو ٹو گیو ہیم ہینڈ ٹو پل اٹ. ہاں, اس کو کنویں سے نکالیں, وہ پھر کہتا ہے نہیں میں کنویں کی زندگی میں جانا چاہتا, تو پھر اس کے لیے, بٹ we need to have a customized and targeted initiatives. یہ فیملیز کو ٹارگٹ کرتا ہے, انٹائر کمیونٹی. اس کے لیے دوسرے پروگرامس ہیں, ایس ایم ای کا پروگرام ہے, گریسپ کا پروگرام ہے. there are so many programs already going on. RSPs کر رہی ہیں, EU کر رہا ہے, ڈیفٹ کر رہا ہے, گورنمنٹ آف پاکستان خود کر رہی ہے, انفراسٹرکچر بن رہے ہیں, سڑکیں بن رہی ہیں, سی پیک بن رہا ہے, وٹ ایور. یہ میں نے جیسے پہلے اسٹارٹ میں کہا تھا کہ ایسی فیملیز رہ جاتی ہیں, آپ جو مرضی کریں, اگر ان فیملیز کے ساتھ ٹارگیٹڈ سپورٹ, ٹارگیٹڈ پروگرامز نہیں لے کے جائیں گے. سو دس پروگرام اونلی فوکسز آن targeting those extremely marginalized, vulnerable households who remained lagging despite all the development going around there. I'll take last question, and because mujhe reminder sir.
My question to sir, the question is similar. Sir, you know that there are many programs running in our country in the term of social protection to reduce, eradicate or graduate the poverty in Pakistan. But still the poverty increases day by day in Pakistan. What is the reason, sir?
یہ تو بہت براڈ کوشچن آپ نے کر دیا. دیکھیں, میں نے اپنے پروگرام کے آپ کو ریزلٹس بتا دیے کہ 4 سالوں میں ہم نے کام کیا. اس 4 سال میں کووڈ بھی آیا, اس 4 سال میں فلڈ بھی آیا, اور یہ थर्ड पार्टी, एक नहीं जिसको हमने हायर किया, सिर्फ ये नहीं कि हमने पैसे दिए तो हमारे मतलब के रिजल्ट, ऐसा नहीं होता, पाइड भी है, फिर एनुअल पॉवर्टी ग्रेजुएशन ट्रैकिंग सर्वे भी है, 3 सोर्सेज से पता चला कि दे हैव मूव्ड आउट ऑफ दैट कंट्री। सो दिस, तो ये हाउस होल्ड्स की, ये घरानों की कहानी है, ठीक है। 3,20,000 हमारा टारगेट है, अगर 70% है तो तकरीबन 2-2.25 लाख घराने जो है वो निकले, लेकिन 2-2.25 लाख आउट ऑफ 90 लाख, ये बहुत इनसिग्निफिकेंट नंबर है। वी नीड मोर रिसोर्सेज। हाँ, क्यों है गुर्बत? क्लाइमेट शॉक्स, ठीक है, फ्लड्स बार बार आ रहे हैं, कोविड-19, फिर इन्फ्लेशन, आपको पता है जो मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन है वो आपको बेहतर पता है, वो मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन इस वक्त जो है ना, वो सिर्फ गरीब को नहीं, अमीर गरीब को इक्वली वो अफेक्ट कर रही है। सो देन देयर ग्लोबल सिनेरियो एज वेल। पहले फंडिंग और सपोर्ट ज़्यादा थी, टेक्निकल सपोर्ट भी ज़्यादा थी, अब कम है, शिफ्ट कहीं और हो गया है। पहले सीरिया उधर हो गया था, फिर यूक्रेन हो गया, अब पता नहीं कहीं और हो जाएगा। सो देयर आर सो मैनी इश्यूज, बट इट्स नॉट दैट कि हम बिल्कुल ही आगे चले ही नहीं। पाकिस्तान, अगर आप इकोनॉमिक सर्वे रिपोर्ट है, मिनिस्ट्री फाइनेंस की वेबसाइट पे है, वो कॉस्ट ऑफ बेसिक नीड की बेसिस पे है, तो वी 29%, 28% है हमारी पॉवर्टी, एंड समटाइम वी आर 32%, 35%, वी 39% से आई रिमेंबर वी हैव बीन। तो सिचुएशन काफ़ी बेहतर है। आपको एमजी गाड़ियाँ जितनी और ये जितनी भी गाड़ियाँ, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हाई राइज, डीएचए, बैरिया और ये हाउसिंग सोसाइटियाँ इतनी नज़र आ रही हैं, पिछले 10 सालों में इतनी नहीं थी। लेकिन पॉइंट ये है कि अमीर स्तर हो रहा था और गरीब फर्दर पीछे जा रहा है, ठीक है। हमारे ये जो अब इसी वजह से जो पॉवर्टी ग्रेजुएशन प्रोग्राम्स है ना, टारगेटिंग स्पेसिफिकली टू दोज हु कैन नॉट बेनिफिट फ्रॉम दी ओवरऑल मेजर डेवलपमेंट्स गोइंग ऑन, उनको सपोर्ट करने का प्रोग्राम है। सो विच इज व्हाई the government of Pakistan also realizes that this program is effective and relevant to meet the targeted and specific needs of the extremely poor households who are relying on social safety net. Thank you very much.
जी, एक छोटी सी बात so much. इसमें ये आपके प्रोग्राम में जो एसेट ट्रांसफर का है ना, अगर इसको आप स्टडी करें, बहुत सारे अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज में भी सेम इस किस्म के प्रोग्राम्स हैं
जी सर, और
हमने शायद वहां से कॉपी किया या उन्होंने कहीं और से कॉपी किया। तो मेरे ख्याल में पाकिस्तान जैसे मुल्क में हमें बजाय इसके कि अफ्रीका को कॉपी करें या उस जैसे, क्योंकि हमारे हालात वैसे नहीं है, हमें लोगों को स्किल बेस्ड आगे लेके आना चाहिए। उनको आप ऐसे एसेट्स दें जिनकी मदद से वो अपना को कारोबार कर सके, इनकम मजीद बेहतर जनरेट कर सकें, उनको कोई टूल्स दें, कोई इक्विपमेंट्स दें। फिर मुख्तलिफ इलाकों का अपना फोक वोकेशनल इंटेलेक्ट है। अगर आप चाइना के हिसाब से देखें या इन कंट्रीज के हिसाब से देखें जिन्होंने तेजी से तरक्की किया है, उन्होंने उस वोकेशनल इंटेलेक्ट को यूटिलाइज किया है बाय गिविंग देम सर्टेन स्पोर्ट्स। सो मेरी राय में इस एसेट ट्रांसफर की बजाय अगर आप थोड़ा सा उसको टेक्निकल साइड पे ले जाएं तो ज्यादा आपको बेहतर रिजल्ट मिलेंगे।
मैं जस्ट गिव मी 2 मिनट्स। आई थिंक योर आपका सवाल जो है क्वाइट फिलोसॉफिकल है, बट बेस्ड ऑन अजम्पशन कि हमने कॉपी किया है। वी डिडंट कॉपी, फर्स्ट। सेकंड ये है कि इसमें स्किल्स ट्रेनिंग, ये जो एसेट्स है ना, वी डू नॉट कंसिडर एवरीथिंग टेंजिबल एज एन एसेट। फॉर अस स्किल इज आल्सो एन एसेट। तो हमारे ये जो 3,20,000 घराने हैं, फिर प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव नहीं है जो आपने अज्यूम किया कि प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव है, सबको जब बकरियां या चिंकी रिक्शे दे। नो नो नो, इट्स द कम्युनिटी। आपके जो टेक्निकल एंड स्किल्स ट्रेनिंग के अलावा हमने डिजिटल स्किल्स, इवन हमने पाकिस्तान में पहली दफा 20 बेनिफिशियरी फैमिली से, कश्मीर से, शिकारपुर से बच्चियां जो हैं, वी हैव एनरोल्ड इन IBA फॉर द डिजिटल स्किल्स एंड ई-कॉमर्स सो दैट दे कैन बी फ्रीलांसर्स। ये भी इसी प्रोग्राम के अंदर है। तो इट कैन बी ऑल टू, इट्स अगेन चॉइस ऑफ द फैमिलीज एंड वी एजुकेट देम। हम मार्केट, अच्छा मार्केट वैल्यू चेन असेसमेंट्स भी हमने की हुई हैं हर रीजन की। हमारी मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन को शायद ज्यादा टाइम चाहिए था, सो मोस्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन कुड हैव बीन आंसर्ड। ये मार्केट वैल्यू चेन असेसमेंट्स भी हुई, जो आप लोकल स्किल फोक की बात कर रहे हैं, दैट हैज बीन कैप्चर्ड देयर। बट पाकिस्तान 90 लाख घरानों को आप फिर थोड़ी सी जरा डीपली सोचिएगा, 90 लाख घरानों को अगर आप सबको स्किल्स ट्रेनिंग दिलवाएंगे, कौन से ट्रेनिंग होगे, और फिर सप्लाई एंड डिमांड। आपके पास इस वक्त कितने फंक्शनल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं, नेवटेक के या प्राइवेट, सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में अक्रॉस। सो थिंक ओवर दिस एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच।